You wake up, but something feels off. Your body moves slower. Your thoughts take longer. You used to feel steady, strong in your step, clear in your mind, confident in your presence. But now, there's a quiet drift, less energy, less interest, less certainty in your own skin. I'm Dr. Nolan, and if you're a man over 60, I want to show you 3 overlooked vitamins that may help you reclaim what still belongs to you: your clarity, your strength, your quiet fire. Because aging doesn't mean fading, and what you've lost might not be lost at all. It rarely begins with a dramatic event. More often, the first signs arrive in silence. You pause at the top of the stairs longer than before. You grip the banister without thinking. The walk to the mailbox feels just a bit longer than last fall. Most men in their 60s don't wake up one day feeling old. Instead, they gradually adjust to a new normal: less speed, less power, less edge. What they don't realize is that this isn't just aging. It's early-stage depletion happening inside the muscles, blood vessels, and nervous system. After 60 men begin losing muscle mass at a rate of 3 to 8% per decade, that's not because of laziness, it's biology. Testosterone production tapers, mitochondria become less efficient, and even healthy diets often fail to deliver what the body used to absorb effortlessly. One man, 67, once told me, "I'm still doing the same things, Doc. But now, I pay for it the next day." What he didn't see, what most men can't see, is that deficiency builds slowly, like rust behind the paint. If you're waking up stiff, recovering slower, or simply not feeling like yourself, ask quietly, is this what aging looks like, or is my body trying to tell me something is missing? For men in their 60s, strength is no longer just a matter of effort. It's a matter of restoration. Because what used to work without question, walking fast, lifting without strain, bouncing back after a bad night's sleep, now depends on support systems that may be quietly fading, not broken, just neglected. And that's why today's message matters. Because if the decline is quiet, so is the recovery. A small correction, a daily habit, a missing nutrient. These can shift the entire slope of aging back toward vitality. For men in their 70s, that shift can feel like remembering who you used to be before fatigue became familiar. So let's begin, because the body you live in is still capable of strength. It just needs to be seen again. There's a reason why older men often feel heavier in winter, slower in spring, and only catch their breath when the sun finally breaks through again. It's not imagination, it's physiology. After 60, the skin becomes less efficient at converting sunlight into vitamin D. Add in more time indoors, medications that interfere with absorption, and diets low in oily fish or fortified foods, and the result is a slow, steady decline in a vitamin your heart, blood vessels, and hormones desperately depend on. More than half of older adults have insufficient vitamin D. And for men, that deficit often shows up as fatigue that sleep doesn't fix, mood changes that don't have a clear reason, and circulation issues that sneak up quietly. One patient, age 74, told me he hadn't smiled in months, not because he was depressed, but because he simply felt dim. His tests showed his vitamin D was 1/3 of the optimal range. Correcting that one number did more than brighten his lab report. Within weeks, his gait was more stable. His blood pressure dropped 8 points, And he started calling his grandchildren again. The body doesn't just want to feel better. It wants to connect, to move, to reawaken. D is essential for maintaining healthy endothelial function, the lining of your blood vessels. Without it, nitric oxide production falls, and circulation becomes sluggish. That means the brain gets foggy, the heart has to work harder, and other systems, especially those tied to identity and confidence, start to pull back. But this isn't about chasing youth. It's about restoring chemistry that helps you show up fully. A 20-minute walk in the sun, sleeves rolled up, a serving of salmon or sardines twice a week, or if needed, a daily dose of D3 in oil-based form. Simple acts, subtle shifts, but they carry weight. If you're waking up tired even after rest, ask gently, am I low on energy or just low on light? Men in their 60s often ignore that question. Men in their 70s can't afford to. And for those quietly living alone, that shift in mood, that drop in motivation, it might not be emotional at all. It might be chemical and reversible. So before we search for answers and diagnoses, let's ask what the body might be missing in the light. Sometimes, vitality returns the same way it faded slowly, but with purpose. Let's keep going. There's a quiet kind of tired that creeps in after 60. It isn't the kind you can sleep off. It shows up in slower thoughts, dropped words, and a fog that makes once simple decisions feel like uphill climbs. For many older men, this is the first sign of B12 slipping beneath the radar. By the time most adults reach their late 60s, their stomach acid, the key agent for absorbing B12 from food, has declined significantly. Add to that common medications for reflux or diabetes, and the absorption drops even further. The result, a steady erosion of neurological support, oxygen transport, and emotional stability. B12 isn't just about energy. It's about how well your body converts food into action. It fuels red blood cell production, protects the sheathing around your nerves, and keeps homocysteine levels in check, an overlooked marker linked to memory decline and heart strain. Low B12 doesn't just leave you tired, it leaves you ungrounded. I remember a 69-year-old man, a retired postal worker who came in after his daughter noticed him repeating stories. I feel like I'm here, but I'm not sharp, he said. His B12 level was just below the threshold. We didn't reach for prescriptions. We started with methylated B12 sublingual drops and added foods he already liked: eggs, sardines, and Greek yogurt. Within a month, his recall was improving, and so was his spirit. For men in their 70s, low B12 can mimic cognitive decline. For those in their early 60s, it often appears as apathy, numbness in the hands or feet, or a growing frustration with simple errors. But here's the deeper truth, what many won't say out loud. When your memory falters, your confidence does too. And when your nerves aren't firing, it's not just your body that weakens, it's your sense of self. Correcting B12 deficiency doesn't require an overhaul. It requires noticing, a basic blood test, a conversation with your provider, and a commitment to nourish the nervous system that still holds so much life. So if you've forgotten a few names lately, or you're wondering why you feel so flat when the day has only just begun, ask yourself, is this mental fog or something more biological? Because what slips in silence can also be restored quietly, gently, and completely. Let's continue. Not all fatigue feels physical. Sometimes it's a dimming from the inside, a loss of that quiet strength men once carried without effort. You still get through the day, you still do what needs doing, but something has cooled. That spark, the one that made you feel present in your body, steady in your emotions, alive in your skin, it's not gone. It's waiting. Vitamin E rarely makes the headlines, but inside your blood vessels, it does something profound. It protects. It keeps the walls of your arteries supple. It shields your cells from oxidative stress, the kind that wears away at energy, motivation, and confidence. And more importantly, it supports hormone regulation, especially testosterone balance, without overwhelming the system. After 60, oxidative stress increases by more than 30%. Inflammation sneaks in, narrowing vessels, slowing circulation, altering mood. For many older men, this doesn't just show up in blood pressure numbers. It shows up in shorter tempers, emotional withdrawal, disrupted sleep, and a body that doesn't respond the way it once did. One patient, a 72-year-old retired engineer, described it like this: "I'm not sad. I just feel flat, like someone turned down the volume on who I am." His labs didn't scream crisis, but they did whisper imbalance. We introduced more vitamin E through food: almonds, sunflower seeds, olive oil, dark leafy greens. Within weeks, he wasn't just more active. He was more responsive to his wife, to music, to himself. You don't need high doses. You need the right form, delivered steadily, paired with healthy fats and low inflammation. And for men already dealing with heart issues, it may reduce arterial stiffness and improve lipid profiles, small changes with outsized impact. So if your circulation feels sluggish, if your emotions feel muted, if your sleep feels surface level, ask yourself, when did I last feel truly in my body, rather than just moving through it? For men in their 60s, this vitamin can protect what you've built. For those in their 70s, it can gently restore what slipped. And for the women in your life, especially those post-menopause, vitamin E supports hormonal balance, reduces hot flashes, and helps with pelvic circulation. One woman I cared for, age 76, quietly added it to her morning routine. "I feel like myself again," she told me weeks later. That matters, too, because this isn't just about performance, it's about presence. Let's go deeper. You take the pill, you follow the label, you trust it's helping, but weeks go by, and nothing changes. Still tired, still foggy, still not quite yourself. For many men over 60, the issue isn't what they're taking. It's what their body can no longer absorb. As we age, the stomach produces less acid. That might sound harmless, but it matters. B12 needs that acid to unlock from protein. Vitamin D needs healthy fat digestion to enter the bloodstream. And vitamin E, delicate and fat-soluble, competes with inflammation just to be delivered where it's needed. Even if you're eating well or using a multivitamin, the odds are stacked. By age 70, over 30% of adults have impaired nutrient absorption, especially if they're taking common medications like metformin, proton pump inhibitors, or diuretics. These aren't rare cases. They're the norm. And most men don't know it. I once met a 75-year-old carpenter, still working part-time, still proud of his routine. He took his vitamins daily, but he told me, "Doc, I still feel like I'm running on fumes." His labs showed low B12 and borderline D. He'd been swallowing them faithfully, but in forms his body could no longer process. We shifted his approach: liquid methylated B12 under the tongue, D3 in oil form, taken with lunch, whole food-based E from sunflower seeds and greens. He didn't need a higher dose. He needed a smarter delivery. 6 weeks later, he wasn't just stronger. He said something I never forgot. I didn't realize how much of myself I'd gotten used to missing. That's the quiet danger of poor absorption. It makes you accept less as your new normal. So if you're already supplementing but still feel off, ask this: am I feeding my body, or just passing nutrients through it? There's a difference. For men in their 60s, the right form matters more than ever. For men in their 70s, it's critical because rebuilding takes longer, and each day matters. And for many older women, especially those on medications that reduce stomach acid, this absorption gap is even more pronounced. It's not a failure of effort, it's a change in chemistry. And chemistry, thankfully, can be adjusted. Let's keep going, because once you understand the delivery, everything else begins to land where it belongs. It doesn't always start with weakness. Sometimes, the first sign is hesitation. You pause before standing. You sit longer than you used to. Not because you're in pain, but because something feels slower, less responsive. For men over 60, this isn't just about muscles. It's about circulation. And when blood doesn't move well, neither does confidence. After 60, nitric oxide production declines, and with it, the elasticity of your blood vessels. That means your heart works harder to do the same job. Your brain receives less oxygen, and your extremities, your hands, feet, and deeper tissues don't get the nourishment they once did. You may not feel sick. You just don't feel fully alive. In one study, men over 65 with healthy vitamin D and E levels showed 22% greater vascular flexibility and 18% higher cardiovascular efficiency compared to those who were deficient. Those aren't cosmetic changes. That's blood flow that reaches your brain faster. That's warmth returning to your feet. That's steadiness when you rise from bed instead of a spinning room. I remember a man in his early 70s, a former firefighter. He was used to power, presence, speed, but now he avoided stairs and laughed a little less. I thought I was just getting old, he said. We checked his vascular markers: low D, low E, borderline hypertension. With slow correction, walking returned, and so did his posture. He started wearing his watch again and looking people in the eye, because when circulation returns, so does self-trust. That's what this is about, not looking young, feeling available to life, to loved ones, to yourself. If you've noticed you're moving less, reaching less, participating less, ask gently, is it that I don't want to, or that my body's stopped offering me the chance? For men in their 60s, now is the time to preserve flexibility. For those in their 70s, it's a chance to reclaim function without force. And for those quietly coping with emotional withdrawal, circulation matters there too. Better blood flow improves mood regulation, memory recall, even the steadiness of your voice when you speak. Because the decline isn't always loud, but the return can be felt in everything. Let's continue. There's more you can rebuild than you think. It's one thing to feel tired. It's another to feel absent from your own life. Not sad exactly, not overwhelmed, just dulled. The days pass, but you don't feel quite inside them. For many men over 60, that feeling isn't emotional weakness. It's biochemical depletion, especially of nutrients that regulate hormones and protect your emotional core. Testosterone naturally decreases with age, but when combined with low B12, low D, and chronic stress, the effect isn't just physical, it touches the brain. You may find yourself avoiding conversations, forgetting names, skipping routines you once loved, not from laziness, but because something deeper is out of rhythm. Cortisol, the body's stress hormone, climbs steadily in men whose vitamin D and E levels are low. And when cortisol rises unchecked, testosterone falls faster. That creates a loop: less vitality, less drive, more inflammation, and deeper fatigue. Not just in your muscles, but in your will. One patient I'll never forget, a 66-year-old widower, told me he hadn't felt fully awake in years. I get up. I do what I have to, but I'm not really there. He wasn't on antidepressants. He wasn't grieving. He was simply emptying out from the inside. His vitamin levels were depleted, especially B12 and D. With careful support, sunlight, and simple nutrition changes, he began laughing again, not loudly, but genuinely. We talk about aging as a physical process, but in truth, it's a hormonal one too. And when hormones are unbalanced, especially in men, the emotional shifts are subtle but impactful. You may feel more irritable, less hopeful, or emotionally distant, even in close relationships. Ask yourself honestly, have I felt less like me lately and more like someone watching my life from the side? That's not a crisis. That's chemistry asking for help. For men in their 60s, stabilizing hormones now can prevent deeper emotional withdrawal in the next decade. For men in their 70s, this isn't about going back. It's about staying present with dignity and steadiness. And for women, especially post-menopause, these same nutrients can calm hormonal storms, soothe anxiety, and reduce emotional volatility. A 70-year-old woman once told me, "It's like my nervous system finally stopped shouting." Stability doesn't come from force, it comes from balance. And balance begins by replenishing what time and stress quietly take. Let's keep going. You're not fading, you're recalibrating. It's a quiet routine in many homes. The clock hits 10 p.m. The lights are low, and the hand reaches into the cupboard. A cookie, a handful of cereal, maybe something sweet from the freezer. For many older adults, especially those living alone, this nightly craving doesn't come from hunger. It comes from chemistry. And behind that chemistry is often a vitamin imbalance you didn't see coming. Low levels of vitamin B12 and D disrupt the body's natural regulation of insulin, leading to late-day drops in blood sugar that spark a desire for quick fixes. Add to that the decline in melatonin production after age 60, and the body begins to confuse fatigue with craving. The result: a restless night, light sleep, and a groggy, irritable morning that feels harder than it should. One woman I saw, 74 and widowed, told me she never used to snack at night, but after her husband passed and her routines changed, she found herself standing in the kitchen past bedtime. "It's not about the food," she said quietly. "It's about filling something." Her B12 was low, and her vitamin D was almost non-existent. We added a gentle evening D3 with magnesium, adjusted her meals to include protein and slow-release carbs, and within 3 weeks, her sleep deepened and her cravings softened. This isn't just about nutrition, it's about rhythm. Sleep isn't just a pause, it's a nightly reset for hormone regulation, immune balance, and cognitive repair. Without it, everything drifts: mood, memory, even digestion. And when sleep suffers, so does resilience. For men, that can look like shorter temper, delayed motivation, or troublemaking decisions. For women, it often shows up as tearfulness, worry, or physical tension, especially in the neck, shoulders, and lower back. The late-night craving isn't always emotional. Sometimes it's the body's way of saying, "I didn't get what I needed today." For those in their 60s, this is an early sign correctable with awareness. For those in their 70s, it can quietly erode health if ignored. And for the 80-year-old woman I met last month, whose blood sugar danced all night, stabilizing D and B12 meant fewer falls, fewer mood swings, and finally, restful sleep. When the body feels safe, it doesn't chase sugar, it rests. And in that rest, the healing begins. Let's continue. Your rhythm can still return. He didn't come in on his own. He hadn't been to a doctor in over 10 years. His daughter sat beside him, gently holding his hand as I asked my usual questions. At 80, he was quiet, still sharp, but dimmed, like a man whose volume had been turned down. She leaned in and said, "He doesn't complain. Dr. Nolan. But I can see he's slipping." His eyes met mine, tired. Yes, but not defeated. Just unsure if anyone could see how much energy it took to move through a day. He wasn't in pain, but he had stopped walking around the block. He no longer read the paper in the mornings. He hadn't called his grandson in weeks. When we ran his labs, his vitamin D was critically low. His B12 was near the neurological threshold. His vascular markers showed silent stress. We didn't prescribe anything drastic. We adjusted his intake liquid B12 under the tongue, a daily walk at 10 a.m. with his daughter, a soft cooked egg and olive oil toast for breakfast. And we asked him to sit in the sun just 15 minutes, every day, by the window. 3 weeks later, his voice had changed. It wasn't louder, but it had more weight. He'd picked up his crossword puzzles again. He was sleeping through the night. He'd made a list of people he wanted to call back. The truth is, many older men won't say what's wrong. Not because they don't feel it, but because they've been taught to endure it, to push through, to adjust quietly. But the body keeps track, and sometimes it takes someone who loves you, your daughter, your wife, your friend, to say out loud what you've been holding in. "You're not yourself lately, and I miss you." For men in their 60s, small corrections now prevent silent slipping later. For men in their 70s, this is the time to reclaim connection, not retreat from it. And for men in their 80s, being seen, truly seen, is sometimes the most powerful medicine of all. His daughter said something as they left that stayed with me. "Thank you for reminding him that he still matters." But really, he reminded all of us, it's never too late to return to yourself. Let's continue. There's one more piece we must not forget. Not every woman over 60 feels fragile. Many are strong, sharp, resilient. But beneath that strength, there's often a quiet erosion, bones thinning, sleep breaking, emotions flickering in and out of balance. Unlike men, women face a sharper shift with age. Estrogen falls rapidly after menopause, and with it, the body's ability to absorb calcium, regulate mood, and keep circulation steady. But where decline speeds up, support matters more. Vitamin D is essential, not optional. Women over 65 who maintain adequate levels reduce their fracture risk by up to 26%. That's not just about bones. That's about staying independent, confident, and steady on your feet. Every fall prevented is a chapter of freedom preserved. B12 plays a quieter role, but no less vital. It supports mood, memory, and metabolic regulation. I've seen women in their early 70s tearfully explain that they don't feel depressed, they just don't feel right. They forget more easily, lose motivation, and blame themselves. Often, it's not emotional at all. It's nutritional. After just a few weeks of steady B12 support through foods, sublingual drops, or gentle injections, color returns to the face and to the days. And vitamin E. It's the body's emotional balm for women struggling with dryness, irritability, or a sense of detachment. E helps support pelvic circulation, hormone modulation, and even skin integrity. A 76-year-old woman I worked with described it perfectly. It didn't change everything, but I stopped feeling like a faded version of myself. And yet, none of this works without rhythm. The body needs routine. That's why I often ask older women to start with a ritual, not a regimen. A soft stretch by the window each morning. A warm breakfast with olive oil. One moment of sunlight before noon. One capsule with lunch. These aren't instructions. They're anchors. When the days feel uncertain, the body responds best to rhythm. And with rhythm comes restoration. If you've noticed your mother, your partner, or yourself drifting a little, ask gently, is this just aging, or is the body asking for steady care? Because the woman who gave everything to her family for decades still deserves to feel at home in her body. For women in their 60s, small rituals rebuild trust. For women in their 70s, they restore peace. And for those reaching 80, they protect not just bone, but identity. Let's move into the final thought together. You've carried so much. You still deserve to feel strong. You've lived decades in this body through work, love, loss, and healing. It's carried you more faithfully than you've probably ever given it credit for. And now, as the pace slows and the noise of the world softens, your body still wants to serve you, but it can't do that without the right support. Vitamin D, B12, E. These aren't just names on a label. They're the quiet scaffolding beneath your clarity, your steadiness, your sense of self. When these are restored, something remarkable happens. You stop surviving the day and begin participating in it again. For many men and women over 60, that shift isn't dramatic. It's subtle. You walk a bit farther, you sleep a bit deeper, you remember the name that wouldn't come to you last week, and most importantly, you start to feel like you again. Not the younger you, the truer you. If this made you reflect today, let someone else feel that too. Share it. And when you're ready, join me in the next video. 3 key vitamins for men over 60 to feel energized. Because energy doesn't come from pushing harder. It comes from restoring what time has quietly taken. You're not done. You're just beginning again on steadier ground.